Good morning, I'm Anna Palmer.
And I'm Jake Sherman.
And welcome to the Daily Punch, brought to you by Punchbowl News. It's Tuesday, October 28th, 2025. Let's get into the mix. Here are your Washington headlines of the day. Number one, where things stand on the government shutdown. Number two, Dems make redistricting moves in New York. And number three, Dems put Russ vote on notice. All right, Jake, let's get into it. An interesting turn of events here as it comes to the Senate and where Senate Majority Leader John Thune is. We were talking yesterday morning about the idea of Senate Republicans moving forward with a few rifle shot bills, those kind of tailored bills that would focus on potentially paying certain parts of the federal workforce, the military, FAA, kind of TSA folks. But now Thune has soured on that.
He has, which is something that is not surprising because it is in line with where the White House is. And, you know, this shutdown, needless to say, has been unusual in plenty of respects. One of the respects, the House is out of town for 39 days, has been out of town for 39 days. This is day 28 of the government shutdown. All of that is weird, not, just based on previous shutdowns. In addition to that, it is weird that there's not been any effort to do these one-off bills, Anna, as you just said, because these one-off bills allow sometimes they work and they're signed into law and they get bipartisan support, and sometimes they give people political cover. What the White House and Thune don't want to happen is they don't want Democrats to feel like they could keep on fighting. You know what I mean?
They want to keep the pressure up. I mean, the point is
that's right.
Maximum pressure, maximum pain. Let's get the government reopened versus saying, okay, where we are feeling the most pain, we're going to relieve that, right?
Well, yes, that is their thinking. But the reason that thinking is kind of flawed, in my view, is that the White House feels that way, but has taken steps in the opposite direction, right? They're paying the military. They filled WIC. They, did all of these things to make the pain a little bit less. But the two big things that are coming up on which there are bills include number one, SNAP, which is November 1st. So that's 4 days away from people around the country. And a lot of people are on SNAP. 40-something million, I think, is the most recent estimate. Josh Hawley has a bill on that. Pairing air traffic controllers, Anna, Ted Cruz has a bill on that. I didn't mention that it was Ted Cruz's bill yesterday. Now I am mentioning it is Ted Cruz's bill. We are seeing already the impacts of air traffic control issues around the country. I tweeted yesterday, I X'd, whatever we say now, posted on X. There was in Dallas, a major fortress hub for American Airlines. A lot of traffic goes through Dallas. There was a ground stop or a ground delay of some sort because of staffing issues. The National Air Traffic Control Union, which is a big union in D.C. and has been active on a whole host of issues, has leaflets. We broke this in the PM edition that they are giving out at airports, calling on people to stop the shutdown. Second union of the day. Yesterday, we had the American Federation of Government Employees and we had the air traffic controllers, both pushing to end the shutdown. So the pressure, to the extent it wasn't building before, which I'm not making that case. I think it's always been building, but the pressure is really building now, Anna.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how Democrats deal with this, right? They're going to have their Tuesday lunches today. This is certainly going to be a topic, particularly
for sure.
PFGE's statement, so far has not moved Democrats to say, all right, we have to reopen the government. But I mean, this is a big deal, and how they handle this becomes trickier and trickier vis-a-vis getting blamed for the shutdown, how they're going to get out of it. I mean, the problem for Democrats is they so far have not, besides saying we want to do all these kind of bigger healthcare packages, aren't in negotiations with Republicans to get out of the jam, right? It feels like we're kind of just stuck in this moment, but there's things that are starting to happen, right? We talked a lot, I feel like for the last several weeks, honestly, like what's going to be that pressure kind of moment for Democrats. And we're starting to see that pressure ramp up. To your point, Trump did do some of those early things, military pay, WIC, but now they are starting to see several things, different things line up, including air traffic control. I mean, that to me is, once it starts impacting American lives. You have 40 million people on SNAP benefits. Those are big deals.
Yes, and you bring up a good point, and then we should talk about tariffs
Yep.
quickly. You bring up a really good point here, which is not only are they continuing to be stuck here and digging in, but there is no obvious sign of discussion or thinking, right? There's 47 rather Democratic senators. No one seems to be thinking about an off ramp. And that off ramp has to be something where the White House feels like they're not giving something up and the Democrats feel like they are getting something. Not because the White House shouldn't give something up. I'm not making that argument. I just know their posture here. I understand their posture, which is they feel like Democrats are unreasonable and they should not have to give something up to end this shutdown. Democrats feel like the White House is unreasonable and they need to give something up to end this shutdown. There is no thinking about that. There's no obvious off ramp. Why? Because, and this came up yesterday, the AFGE, which, the federal employee union that called for the end of the shutdown, said, and I'm paraphrasing here, said both sides have proved their point. It's time to end this, right? The problem is Democrats are not trying to prove a point, at least in their public posture, right? They are saying this is the time to enact change. They've taken this now 28 days. So, I don't know where we go from here, but anyway, let's talk about tariffs quickly. Vice President JD Vance up on the Hill today to urge Republicans to stay in line against a trio of tariff measures to block Trump's tariffs on Canada, Brazil, and global tariffs. This is at least rhetorically a big argument against Trump's main tool of international trade negotiations.
Well, and it's going to be interesting to see because you got, obviously Rand Paul, who's co-sponsored the anti-tariff resolutions, but there's other folks to watch here that are uncomfortable or that their home states are certainly feeling the pain of the tariffs. Senator Tom Tillis, a Republican from North Carolina, he's questioned the wisdom of Trump tariffs. Certainly farm country. The soybean farmers right now are finishing their harvest across the heartland of America, and going to be interesting to see what that means. Ron John, another tariff opponent. Do any of them actually split with the Trump administration? We'll have to see. But certainly you're starting to see some of the Republicans uncomfortable with Trump tariff policy be put on the spot in the Senate this week. All right, Jake, it's one of the number 2 story of the morning. Redistricting wars. Democrats have landed on a legal strategy that just might net them an additional congressional seat in New York. For the midterms, Democratic election lawyer Mark Elias filed a lawsuit Monday on behalf of 4 voters that alleges New York's 11th district unconstitutionally weakens the power of Black and Latino voters and should be redrawn. This is just another effort kind of by Democrats to try to answer and find ways to get advantage in liberal states.
Who else besides Mark Elias would file this? What a shocker. Man, oh man. Okay, this is very
That's a joke, folks, for people that
Yes.
don't know. Mark Elias is one of the biggest election attorneys in Democratic politics.
The Democratic election lawyer. And it's not just him. He has his own firm. It's a big
Right.
firm now.
Right.
Okay, so this district is Nicole Maliotakis' district, and it is right now it encompasses this. I had to have Allie walk me through this last night because this all came as a little bit of a surprise. Nicole Maliotakis' district encompasses the entirety of Staten Island and a little sliver of southern Brooklyn. Dan Goldman represents Lower Manhattan, basically like East Village and down. So not really only the tip of Manhattan, but the lower probably 10th of Manhattan or something like that, and a part of Western Brooklyn. What they're effectively trying to do is they're trying to give Goldman, this is a little bit of a oversimplification, but they're trying to swap. They're trying to give Goldman Staten Island and
Part of Staten Island, right?
no, the entirety of Staten Island.
Okay.
And also keeps his Southern New York district and then create a new district on the other side in Brooklyn. We thought when this lawsuit was filed that they were trying to overturn the entire New York map, but it seems to be that their goal is just to kind of swap these two areas of Goldman put Goldman in with Malliotakis, which would make a Democratic district that included Staten Island, which Goldman would run in, and another district in Brooklyn. But they're basically trying to swap those two. Now, who the hell knows what the courts are going to do, right? You can never know how the courts are going to net out on any issue, but it would have impact, right? Because if this goes through, and again, we don't know, Malliotakis would be without a place to run because Goldman said he would run against Malliotakis. That would be a D. I think we say that would be a D plus 10. So that's a safe Democratic district in which Nicole Malliotakis would have effectively no chance of winning. Right now, her district is Staten Island and the tip of southern Brooklyn, which is Republican. It is a Republican seat. Democrat Max Rose used to represent Staten Island, but it's become a pretty Republican seat. Now, listen, we've been hearing all along that there is a chance that Democrats would make a redistricting move in New York. This is the only way to do it. This is the only way to do it, is just to get the courts to intervene in what Democrats are saying is an unconstitutional gerrymander.
We shall see. Just another kind of plotting attempt for, kind of every day. I feel like it's, Republicans do this, Democrats do this. What, can they answer? And so much of this, as you note, is going to be left up to the courts, in this case in particular. All right, let's run to the number 3 story of the morning. The Vault. Dems press vote on CFPB closure. We've got a first in the Vault. Democrats on the Senate Banking Committee warned Russ Vote not to illegally shutter the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau after the White House officially suggested the agency could be closed within months. In a letter signed by every Democrat, Jake, on the banking panel, the group told Vote, who is the Senate confirmed, of course, director of OMB and acting director of the CFPB, that his, quote, continued attempts to shutter the CFPB are illegal and American families stand to pay the price.
Yeah, this is interesting. Basically, the issue here is that the CFPB is locked up in litigation over what the Trump administration wants to do with it. The Trump administration says it doesn't intend to eliminate the consumer watchdog entirely, but is going to fire a huge chunk of people. So they're saying in court that they don't want to eliminate the whole thing, and then Vote says he's working to close it down. So those two are not, those are difficult to square that circle, Anna. And Russ Vote's a busy man these days. So it's an interesting item that we have in the Vault, which is free on Tuesday mornings and behind a paywall for the rest of time forever. It's behind a paywall. So very good item by Brendan.
All right, before we let you go, we've got some big internal news, Jake. We are welcoming the great Anthony Agdagna to Punchbowl News, where he is going to join Brianna Riley in launching our defense policy coverage. Anthony was a colleague of many of ours at Politico. He's a terrific reporter, and we are excited to have him join the Punchbowl News team.
Indeed, a rare reporter who understands politics and policy, a great colleague, great guy, and we are super excited to have him join our team. He will be a great addition to Punchbowl News.
With that, we're going to leave it there. Thanks so much for listening. We appreciate it. If you like the Daily Punch, share it on social media. Tell your friends. It's the best way for folks to find out about us. And, of course, you can go deeper on all things Punchbowl News at punchbowl.news. Have a great day and stay safe, everybody.